Hey guys, welcome to my home. It's good to be here with you again at Field and Supply. I'm so grateful that they keep giving me these chances to reach out and hang with you all, even though we are in this pandemic world of quarantine and we can't be face to face. This is a great way for us to connect. So, the first time we did this, we were in my working studio here, and I kind of gave you a little bit of a tour of that space. And then the second time we were in my gallery here in Greensboro, North Carolina. So there we were looking at some of my work and talking about some of the materials I use. But now here we are at the holidays. And so for Christmas, I wanted to do a little bit of ways that you can incorporate different art fun techniques into your Christmas decorating. So we're kind of doing just a little bit. This is just whimsical. This is fun. This is random. It's a little bit of everything. We're going to talk stuff about drinks. I'm going to introduce you to my husband in just a second, and he's going to whip something up fun for us, and maybe something you can keep tucked away in your mind for the holidays. It's a drink we have every holiday season. In fact, we don't ever have it unless it is Christmas, and a dear friend of ours makes it for us, and she is not here. She was going to be here to make it, so now Kevin's making it for us. And then we'll talk a little bit about some decorating and some ways that you can incorporate art into your just really easy stuff that actually you can do. It looks not so easy and a little fancier than it is, but it's really simple. And then we'll do a really quick kind of watercolor fun, something you can do with your kids, something you can do with yourself and have fun with it, or give as gifts, or make cards, or anything like that. So we're going to get started first, most importantly, with something to drink. So Kevin, please come and tell us what you are going to be making. Oh, we're going to switch sides here. Okay, tell us the name of this drink.
So this is the fairy godmother. I'm probably standing.
Yeah, you probably are going to have to like come over this way a little bit. How about we move this arrangement too?
I was informed about 5 minutes ago that I was making this, so
that's how we do things.
So this is the fairy godmother. Definitely a sipping drink, not something we want to probably have more than one or two of. But so we got vanilla bean vodka.
All right, are you going to talk ratios? Do you have?
I will talk ratios. I have them right here. There we go.
Oh, I moved them. Sorry.
All right, so
you can move forward so that you're not in the hanging fixture that we'll talk about.
All right, so vanilla bean vodka, 2 parts of that. So we got our shaker that is already full of ice. Put in 2 shots of that. Next part is 1.5 of this cream de cocoa liqueur. So let's see. Well, one of those.
Actually, I'm so proud of this shot glass that you have right now, because this is actually.
I was trying to hold it so it wasn't facing forward.
It's okay. We can be proud of that. Yeah, that's a deal. Okay, so this is actually a drink that a friend of mine, who was also a sorority sister of mine, has made us for years, and that is a Delta Gamma shot glass. So that is really funny. Okay, sorry. Continue.
All right. So again, 2 parts of the vanilla bean, 1.5 of this cream de cocoa.
Yeah, we got that.
And then the another 1.5 of this white Godiva chocolate. So
you said 1.5?
1.5.
We'll have to get this. I mean, there's literally 3 ingredients. This isn't that complicated.
3 ingredients, not too difficult. We got shaker top right here. Get the glasses. Make sure the top's not going to come off. Get it nice and cool.
You're a sport, Kev.
Walked home from work, had to change shirts, and now I'm making drinks.
All of these things are true. And also, we're on Field and Supply, but also streaming this with IG Live on Amy Heywood Art Instagram. So, hey there, everybody.
Here we go. A nice, attractive.
Oh, we're good. I didn't see. Okay.
Holiday drink.
Okay. It is yummy. Cheers.
Cheers.
And it's one to sip and only, I mean, you said maybe two? One.
One or two tops.
It is really good, and I have no idea why it's considered a festive drink. I mean, it's delicious, but we should probably drink that year round.
I think you put white chocolate in something, it's going to turn out well.
Yeah. It tastes, it's really delicious. Okay, right. So that's fun. We'll get, we'll try to get that. You know, I should have, you can scoot that back and maybe even move this because I don't want to knock all of that stuff off. But that's a fairy godmother, and we'll get the ingredients written up and somehow we'll get that over to Field and Supply. Okay, yum, Kevin, thank you. Appreciate you doing that. Okay, so now that we all have something delicious to sip on, I want to talk to you a little bit about what I have going on behind me. This is actually, I'm in my kitchen. This is our eating area. I have awkwardly kind of turned my light fixture to the corner and moved my table around. But I wanted to do something that I have done a couple times for events before, but I have never done it with an artistic twist by adding paint into the mix, but it's super cool and it's very easy to do. Okay, so this, a lot of you have probably seen, I am not a florist. I don't really know anything about flowers, or I can't tell you what most of the things are up here, but I can tell you that every single one of them came from my backyard or my neighbor's backyard. Literally, well, actually, that is not true. There is one that the white flowers right up here, they did come from a florist who was getting ready to throw them out because they were on their last leg. And I said, I'll take them. I can use those. But other than that, every single thing here is stuff that has been pulled out of my yard. But what I did this time was I suspended chicken wire and I literally just rolled it up. I can have pictures of this posted, but I literally just rolled this up. I stuck a little bit of foam in the middle, and then I just started sticking all of the branches that I had and made this arrangement. So this could be floating over a table and be really lovely. And I did that. I started this about, Ella, when did I start this? Maybe 2 o'clock today. And it's really dramatic and lovely and beautiful. But what I wanted to show you that is particular to my career and what I do as an artist is I literally used spray paint and took all of this is rosemary that is pretty much done for the year, and I just clipped all of that. It's lavender and rosemary. I clipped all of it, and we just lined it up in the back and started spray painting it. I do not have magnolia in my yard, but my neighbor and friend does, and so we clipped some of that. And how cool, can y'all see that? Catherine, can you see that color? This, I don't know what it is with this color. Clearly this, I'm like jiving with it this Christmas, but we just spray painted it, and we didn't even do it all that thoroughly. We could have, but we just, for the purpose of showing what you can do, we just spray painted this, and it will last for about a week. Typically magnolia does not. I have put it in arrangements before, and people that know floral design know that it's not really going to last that long, but once it's spray painted, you can't really tell. So that's fun. We splattered some gold on some of it, and just all around it, I think it turned out really cool. So then once you have this next element of color and texture, it just adds a pop to everything that it's up against. Like, I have no idea what this is, but it's absolutely stunning. And by the way, if any of this stuff is poisonous, just don't even message me and tell me. I don't even want to know. I don't know what half this stuff is, but I think for the most part, it's all fine. But maybe somebody out there that knows what they're looking at will have something to say about it. But for the most part, this right here has been my favorite. It kind of almost looks like an olive branch. And then, of course, the red, all of this is just its own color, and it's beautiful by itself. But then once you have it up against, this is me, I'm all about color. Once you have that against the red and the green there, it just changes all of it. So that is something really, really easy to do. And as much as I do like this magnolia, I think the lavender is super awesome. You can see it kind of plugged in different places. And yeah, we just wrapped it all up and that was it. We have a question. Yes, so what we did, the structure is chicken wire and it is about this wide, and I rolled it up and suspended it with wire, just literally like that. There is a little bit of the wet foam inside, but honestly, I found out that I really didn't even need that. Actually, this is a fun little thing that, you can kind of add to it. I used regular chicken wire, like the really big stuff, but I added it and like kind of suspended it with this. And you can just stick all the branches in there. Used a lot of twine. But for the most part, there's a little bit of wet foam in there and a little bit of the dry foam, but it wasn't necessary in hindsight what I was using it for. I could have done it with just the chicken wire. So super easy. And then just put 2 nails in up near my skylights, and my husband is thrilled with that. He is thrilled and he is happy that I could decorate our kitchen this way. So that was necessary too. Does that answer the question, Catherine? Okay. All right. So those, as far as your flower arrangements, oh, Kevin, we got to move this out of the way. As far as any arrangements, like I said, I'm not a florist. I don't arrange flowers. I just aesthetically, I think the design of it all is what appeals to me. And so even though I kind of don't know what I'm working with, I just look at it and keep sticking stuff in until I get it right. But I was really excited with how the spray paint turned out on some of this foliage. So, I mean, think about any kind of grasses, or, I mean, just the whole look of it can change with color. Okay, and is that all for that? Okay, so now coming kind of full circle to what I do now. This was a fun thing to add in for Christmas time and for the holidays, but as an artist, I'm always looking for really simple ways to add that into things like gifts or cards, and it's hard to do because most of the time, if you've looked at any of my work, I work really large. But watercolors is not a medium that I'm typically using, but I really like it for the purpose of things like this because you can work smaller and it's a little bit more controlled. So we are kind of I'm not generally a watercolorist. That's not really what I do. I work more in heavy oils and plasters, but I convinced somehow, some way, that for my daughter to come in and help me with this a little bit. So Ella, will you jump in here, please? And she is kind of frustrated with me. This is Ella, my oldest daughter, because she's like, Mom, I'm not an artist. And I'm like, yes, you are. You don't. Yes, you are. But that's not the point. The point is to kind of do something to show that anybody can do this. So having said all of that, let me show you a few of the materials that I have. Ella, we're going to we'll leave this up in front. And we've got different tubs of water. And I think maybe if we let's just pull this over. And also, how are we on time? Okay. So we are good there. All right. Is all of that able to be seen? Okay. So the first thing, again, this is not my my specialty as an artist, but I've done it enough that there's a few simple tricks that can really help you. First of all, with watercolor, the paper it wants to shrink. So I have it taped down. There are some different watercolor papers that come, actually, I don't think I have any down here, that come in a sealed packet, and you kind of, once you're done, you peel it off one at a time. But the whole purpose is to just keep it secure and attached so that it doesn't buckle. So what I've actually done is I've gone with all of these. In fact, you can see it's coming up a little bit right here. With all of these earlier today, I went through and attached the watercolor paper to a board, taped it down with artist tape. So that in artist tape is a special kind of tape that won't tear the paper when you do pull it off. And then I wet all of it. So if you pre-wet the paper, you don't have that issue where it will shrink up. So that's the first kind of trick to keep in mind. So just go through and just do a quick wash of just nothing but water and with your brush. Okay, and what I have, get this out of the way. So what I have here is I just pre-selected a couple of, Ella, how about we put this on this side over there, and then we can put the, what we're painting. I pre-selected just a couple of colors, and I even got some new brushes. So actually, I don't know if we've got tags even on some of these brushes. So they're all these watercolor brushes are a lot prettier than what they typically look like in my studio. But watercolor brushes are softer, and they will, they're used more as blending as opposed to when I'm working with oils or plasters, I'm using some kind of a palette knife or a thick bristled brush. That's not what you use with watercolor. Okay, so these are all of these are soft bristled brushes. And Ella, you can maybe come and grab one of these. You can come on this side, Ella. She wants to hide, but I will not let her hide. And the best thing to do is to have a couple different containers of water. You're good where you were, over here. You can turn on the other side of the, right there, there you go. The best way to do it is to have a couple different containers of water, because as you rinse, you'll just start getting a muddy mess. So I put one really quick wash on this board right here. Let's just use these. And again, Ella is using her as a total guinea pig here. But I want you to be able to see that this is something that anybody can do. I wanted to pick something really simple. And when I was making this arrangement, I just stuck some of these spray painted flowers in here, and then some of these red, and these are paper whites. But I wanted to get just a quick composition of what we would be painting. So Ella, with that in mind, bless your heart, thank you for doing this. With that in mind, I want you to come over here and do literally alongside me on top of, I just don't know the best way to do this, on top of what's already here. I want you to take a little bit of that darker. Yeah. Let me do it this way. And I want you to see the difference. I want you to just literally go straight here. Just do this. Just kind of like create a wash. Okay. So, Kevin, what do you think? If we pull this forward a little bit, do you think that'd be better? Okay. Okay. All right. So this is her second layer of color, and you can see the difference in my layer. This is the first layer. Okay. What I would do is let this kind of I would let it sit and dry a little bit. And as you add layer, you don't want to put a lot of color on at once. As you kind of add more. Let's see if I can get a different color to show you. Yeah, do some of that, Ella. Add in a little bit of that blue and kind of get a darker tone, because then you can see. Yeah. Okay. Actually, that's good, because I want you to be able to see that it will blend and then wash. Okay, so we want all of these drips to happen because as they dry, that's going to be the interest that you want. I want to pull you back here. I know this is kind of difficult with the space we're working in, it's really small, but I want you to see that this is the composition we're starting with. So this is extremely basic right now. We've got literally just this bottom half I'm working with as this container, and then I'm just starting to create a little bit of color up top, which is going to end up being all of these details, but I'm not doing anything really, really in like specific or intense. I'm letting it run. I'm letting it kind of just do its own thing. So as this, even Ella, you can already tell that over here it's a little bit dry. Okay, and up here is dry as well. So let's do another layer of just really wide, splotchy green. And it can be, it doesn't even have to, it can be any color you want. You don't always have to follow. Yeah, perfect. Uh-huh. Yeah, okay, so actually all of the paintings back there are mine, and I was going to get to all of that before we're done, but actually while she kind of lets some of this drip, I can do a little bit of that. That is super cool, Ella. So let's let that drip for a second. I wonder, Kevin, if maybe even you come in a little bit so you can see what's happening so far with the drips, because I'm totally, like, that's doing exactly what I want it to do right now. Okay. And then we'll let that sit for just a second. And yeah, we can talk about, what do you think is the best way, Kev, to walk around to be able to see the paintings in the, you want to follow me around that way?
Sure.
Okay. If you could just do your best to not get our laundry room or our dog that is begging to come in. Yeah, so these, all three of these over here are mine, and this is typically what the kind of mediums that I work in. This is all oil and plaster mixed together. And again, the palette is the same that I just seem to be using a lot these days, which you'll see in this arrangement and in these that I selected over here. Good. Hopefully that answered that question. Okay. All right. So back to this. While this is still, actually, we're good. We can move to the next. I want you to notice that all we're doing right now is we're blocking in really wide color. Okay, so nothing specific at all. We're just starting with the lower half of this piece and then the upper half of this piece, and I almost can use any color you want. I mean, we started with these brighter colors, but we're not trying to do anything really realistic or exact, so you can pick whatever you want. But now, Ella, if on yours, if you want to choose a another blue or purple or anything, and let's just keep building the color with this top piece. With the, I say the top piece, I mean the upper half of that. And I'm going to kind of just like keep doing the same over here.
They're wondering if the paper is actually wet.
So it is only wet in the areas that I am applying right now. The watercolor paper dries really fast. And when I said earlier that I pre-wet the paper, I did, and then it had a chance to dry. So I wasn't working on a wet surface. It's for the sake of time right now, Ella, that's totally fine. I can tell she's already stressing out. She's not real sure about that. But it's really exactly what you want. But if, well, I really, there's a lot of ones that I almost feel like you can use any kind. I have literally used, not really recently, but I have used the child version, like whatever those ones that you get, like, I don't know, you can even get them at like a dollar store or something. Truly, like, pigment is, you can build and you can work with almost anything. For me, these days, I work, Lucas is kind of one of my favorites, but I don't know if you can if you can see that at all, Kev. But this is actually the same brand that I use for my oils as well. So yeah. And it's just a matter of how strong and intense the pigment is, and the higher quality is going to have more pigment, and I mean, it'll just give you a better product in the end. But you know, I also like Winsor Newton makes a great watercolor too. There's all kinds of different ones. Yeah, I definitely use a lot of those. So, but back to the question about whether or not the paper is wet. So it is wet right now in the areas where we have been applying color. And see, it's already kind of dry. I mean, like this is already, over here is already pretty dry. So we can keep building. Okay, so Ella, let's start darkening some of this lower half. We're always looking at contrast. It really doesn't matter the colors that we use as long as there's high contrast. So that's why you can look at a landscape that is maybe not a true and natural color reflection of like what you're seeing, but if the contrast is right, then you know what you're looking at. So it's kind of the same idea here. So that's why we're working with whatever colors we want, but we want to definitely get enough contrast. So let's do something where we can pick up that darker bottom. And I've pulled just a few random colors, but you can use whatever you want. And again, you don't need to worry about shape too much as just blocking in color. I'm going to let this run a little bit. And then get a little bit full over here. Keep it asymmetrical. Okay. All right, so even that so far, you're starting to see how you're building the contrast between these two. I'm gonna add a little bit of this green. The purple.
Your viewers are wondering if you could publish the steps to this watercolor.
I will, and I'm going to also publish a, oh, I'm sorry, let me repeat that. I keep forgetting I have to repeat the question. I will have these steps, I can publish those, and I'll have the finished product as well. The purpose of this right now is for you to be able to see that in the end, get this one color mixed. In the end, it will not matter. Oh, that's cool. I want you to be able to see that it's not going to matter the colors that are used, as long as you get the contrast right. You can create something that resembles what you're after. If you move too quickly and you don't let the colors sit long enough, you'll just start getting mud. But so I'm going to let this sit for just a little bit. But so far, let me explain that, Kevin, maybe if you come up a little bit closer, do you see some of the bleeding that's happening right here in between these colors? Like, that's good. That's what I want. That is ultimately going to start being the shapes of the leaves. Okay, so you want like that line, and that definition will be the shape of that. This color, these color bleeding down here, like the blue and the pinkish and the purple colors, those are going to be the backdrop of your darker contrast down bottom. So even though it is organic and it's random and it's abstract seeming, all of it will be what in the end makes it come together and be pleasing to the eye. In these drips with watercolor, that's what's so cool about it, is you can let it, you can actually, what I usually do is I move the, I move my papers around like this as it gets wet, and it will, that gives some cool variation too. Did that answer the question? Okay. So one last thing about working with this size. I mentioned giving gifts or using these for cards. I always, unless I'm working on a canvas where I just have a really specific size, I love to work on a larger surface than what I'm ultimately going to be using. So I would start with a larger piece, knowing that I'm probably going to cut into it somewhere. So if you're creating cards, or if you're creating anything just where you can, on the back, almost like a postcard, you can put a little, if it's a teacher gift, then you can create something like this, super cool, sign it in the bottom, and then write a note on the back, and maybe you have a gift card in there too or something. But that's how it just makes it personal, and it doesn't have to be really big. So though I'm working on a 9x12 right now, ultimately I'm going to probably cut this down and put them in boxes and wrap them up, and they'll be, I don't know what size they'll end up being, but they won't be this big. So we'll do the steps on something post. We'll get them on Field and Supply, and then for sure I'll have them on my Instagram. We'll do the steps, and then the kind of before and after in stages, so that you can see how you build up the colors with watercolor. It's just a different way of painting. For years, I was very intimidated by watercolors, which is funny. I was so much more comfortable with any kind of thick medium or plaster, but watercolor it's challenging, and it takes a little bit of finesse, but it does need a little bit of drying time. So we'll do some afters after today. Okay, and then before we wrap stuff up, I want to remind everybody that Field and Supply is doing the 12 days of Christmas giveaway, and my day, I think, is Ella, help me out. Is it the 11th? The 11th. Okay, so December 11th is when I will be giving away one of my pieces of artwork. Let me tuck around over here to show you. These are all on the website, and I have 4 different colors. They're all for sale on Field and Supply, their site right now. So I have that color, and see, I mean, I'm just like, I can't get away from it. This one, and there's actually a dark blue and a purple as well. So we will be giving one of those away on December 11th, and there's lots of other really cool artisans and some great giveaways. So check in on their Instagram page and the Field and Supply website as well. So what else was I going to cover before the ornaments? Okay, we have on the website, there's 3 different kinds of ornaments, and I have a few of them up here. There's some shells that are wax and ink, a little bit of all of the mediums that I use, actually. A lot of my work is in caustic, so I've kind of incorporated that into it. And then some other of these fun pieces that I'm always looking for different ways to add in texture and layers. So I have these studded ornaments that are super cool, all hand painted and assembled by me. So check those out. And I think they also have that, if you're watching this on the Field and Supply website right now, I think that's live with them now. Okay, so check back on my page and we'll do some afters. I'll show you some tips on how to wrap these up and make them look really cool, but get a set of watercolors. Anybody can do these, and we'll publish some of those, the steps that go along with that as well. Okay, any other questions before we wrap up? I hope y'all have a really, really Merry Christmas and you're able to be with family. We are hunkering down here at our house for Christmas, but super excited actually to be home this year. We good? Thank you guys for joining, and if you have any questions, You can still reach me about any of this stuff or how I put any of these things together on via Instagram, or send me an email or shout out through Field and Supply. Thanks for joining. Merry Christmas.